I have spent the last 2 days orchestrating and paying off referees and whatever I can get to make sure that Team Massachusetts and Team Maine played together again. These two teams have a storied background that we'll talk about here in just a moment. But first, I want to introduce our announcers for this broadcast. We have Banshee again with us.
Oh, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Well, thanks. Glad to be here.
Are you excited about this game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Mo, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. One of the very first WIFTA teams I ever saw was Maine Roller Derby, in fact, so excited to be here for this.
All right, nice. So these teams, in preparation for State Wars, back in November, Maine did a scrimmage against Massachusetts down at the Boston Roller Derby warehouse. That was a closed scrimmage, but they were kind enough to let us go down there and broadcast it. And
right from Fort Independence?
Yes.
Very nice.
So I was thrilled. I didn't fanboy out a ton. I did a little bit, but not too much. So we broadcast, and that game had somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 lead changes.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
They ended, I believe Maine won by less than 5 points. They met again down in State Wars, and it was a continuation of that first scrimmage. Lead changes throughout, Maine finally pulling out the win in the end. So this is number 3.
All right. Now, are the teams similar in terms of their personnel between today and those last two?
So for Maine, they're only missing probably 4 key players, but the core is still there.
Okay.
The core is still there. For Massachusetts, very much the same roster.
All right. So we'll see if that holds then.
Yes, and this is sure to be exciting. You know, we've all been waiting for it, and I commend you, Chad, for your motivation of officials, skaters, and whoever shall remain nameless in helping make this happen. I know that we were sitting here this morning, the West Virginia Team Massachusetts game, and we were just chomping at the bit, counting down that it was going to end up with a Maine and Massachusetts matchup. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Team Mass. Team Massachusetts bringing you number 2, Pena Colada, hailing from Western Mass Roller Derby. Number 4, Caltascaro. She is not skating, but she is here supporting the team for this game. Number 12, Varla Guns of Providence Roller Derby, joined by her teammate, 31, Smashley Olson, also from PRD. 33, R2, and 42, Lion King, both from Boston Roller Derby, along with 103, Emily Powolski of Boston Roller Derby, 109, Bella Labral of Pioneer Valley Roller Derby, joined by 5 Penny, number 134, and Cruliet Lewis, 207 of Boston Roller Derby. In addition, we have 300 Hard Times, also a Boston Roller Derby skater, and 419 Keltrosity of Mass Attack Roller Derby, 777 Hook of Boston Roller Derby, 999 Rammy Lammy of Western Mass Roller Derby, and 2787 Dorcas Maximus of Mass Attack Roller Derby. Team Mass is coached by Stryker and bench managed by Obstinate.
All right, going to run through the Maine ladies very quickly here. Number 10 is Nurse Heartless from Bangor. Number 12 is Head of Flames from Rock Coast, also from Rock Coast. 203 Oxidizer and 207 Carolyn Mariner. Number 22 Hard Dash from Maine Roller Derby. Number 23 Chain Links from the Rock Coast Rollers. Number 3 is Microphone Assassin from Bangor. 305 is Grim Demise from Casco Bay Gentlemen's Derby. 333 Stargazer Lily is from Central Maine. 37 Spry Bergeron from Maine. Number 00 Desi Clark Rose City Rollers. 44 Sweet Peacock, that's Central Maine. 510 Firefly from Bangor. 750 Jamazon from Maine. 8 Aroostook Bounty, all the way up from Aroostook Roller Derby, the tip of the country there. 86 is Han Giolo from MRD, and 7 is Zeldangerous from MRD. And it looks like we are ready to go. Man, we could have timed that better.
And that is Jamazon wearing the star for Maine Roller Derby. She is facing off against, she's hidden right now. Oh, that looks like Hard Times, number 300 for Team Massachusetts, and it's Hard Times picking up lead jammer.
Jamazon right out of the pack right after, hot on her heels and using those long legs to good advantage to put some pressure on Hard Times, who's going to have a hard time if she doesn't call it off, which she does.
Wise choice. And I wanted to point out, coming into the Battle of the All-Stars tournament, Team Massachusetts is the number 4 seed, and Team Maine is at number 6.
All right, let's see if Maine can upset their seed today. And, of
Absolutely.
course, we were looking at the bracket earlier. We'll go over that in just a couple of minutes.
Especially mid-pack and especially lane 2 and lane 3 in this bout. We'll see what happens there. I believe that's where the opportunities are going to come. We'll check it out.
This is an elimination game, so one of these teams goes on.
Yes, one will move forward, and we will talk about that shortly. It does appear we have Nurse Heartless springing out of the pack, leaps and bounds ahead, picking up lead, and she was facing off against Rami Lammy of Team Mass.
Rami Lammy caught up behind a tight white wall right now. Nurse Heartless breaks through for a full 5.
Looks like Head of Flames is going to sit down.
Pushing her to the outside. She sees the inside track, takes a big hip for number 22. She's going to go down hard from hard dash.
And it appears Lammy has decided to stash the helmet cover in order to make her way through, and it does have some success.
A little less success putting it back on, but gets it on the second try, and the jam is called. So many points on that main star.
I think this is the first time Maine has started off with a lead.
Yeah.
Both games prior, I believe they were a couple of jams before they put any points on the board.
We've seen some great things from both teams, some real strength in the jammers of Maine, in addition to Massachusetts, but I know Jamazon definitely stands out. We have Flying King jamming for Team Massachusetts, but I do believe...
Microphone assassin up there for Maine. Sorry to cut you off. She's through and lead jammer for the ladies from Maine. Should mention Maine's in white, Massachusetts in blue here, just in case you haven't picked that up yet.
Yes, that deep navy can be confused for black. We were talking about that earlier.
Rex at a gameplay possibly may be coming on Head of Flames.
4 points up there for Maine.
No penalties currently being served. 4 on 4 in the pack right now, and I spoke a little too soon. Looks like Head of Flames is headed to the box for what I heard was a direction to gameplay penalty.
We got one. There is one in the box, and they caught that, so one comes off. It's a 3-on-4 opportunity. Massachusetts in the back, Maine up front in the white jersey.
In the pack for Maine, we have Zell Dangerous bracing a 2-wall,
Looks like,
doing their part to hold off Hard Times.
yep, there we go. And that's hard dash number 22, trying to work her way out of the pack for Maine right now. But Massachusetts has this one sewn up as she works her way around, cuts to the inside. Nice hit from Nurse Heartless, but not enough to knock her out. She calls it.
Not before she puts 5 up, 4 up.
Team Mass putting 4 points on the board.
That gets them on the board, 4 to 12.
It's nice to see some points for both sides.
All right, that is $9.99 up there for blue. Of course, that's Rami Lammy.
Rami Lammy to the line.
And Rami Lammy is joined by Jamazon from Team Maine.
Jamazon from Maine Roller Derby.
Oh, Rami Lammy keeping low there. Breaks out of the pack early.
She really had to shoulder that one out. That was a tough 2-wall.
Moves quick, and you hear him get her out of there.
And some more Gumby-like one-footed action from Rami Lammy. Unfortunately not staying in bounds, but she does return to the back of the pack as needed. Makes that quick call before Jamazon can hit the pack.
5 more points for Mass. We got a 3-point game here. 1 pass away from a lead change.
Remy's eating all smiles at 8 a.m. today for the bout.
All right, number 10, Nurse Heartless on the line for Maine.
It may be the mouth guard. I'm wondering if maybe she's just got a mouth guard painted.
And joining Nurse Heartless, we have Flying King.
Cursing us out the whole time.
Yeah, we found a secret. I like this. All right, this is going to be once again flying.
Jam has started. Slow start.
Against Nurse Heartless.
Nurse Heartless pushed to the inside. She's got to recycle all the way around back.
Firefly trying to take Flying King out, but they stay in, picking up that lead.
Nurse Heartless makes her way out just as, Flying makes her way to the back of the pack, forced to call. 0-2 on that, Jim.
Some nice defense there from Team Maine, taking Flying King out right away, causing a forced call.
Banshee, we got a 1-point game here.
No, very, very exciting. And we're just getting started.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exciting bouts we've seen this weekend. Exactly what we expected.
Yeah, well, like I said, you said it earlier.
24 minutes left to play as the whistle blows. There we go.
5-point or less deficit both times. So it's a very, very closely matched pairing, we suspect.
Microphone Assassin going up against Hard Times. Microphone Assassin on the inside line, pushes her way out.
The Maine defense is really laying into Hard Times, seeing her stumble back before being able to break through.
Hard Times showing a little bit more speed coming out of that, gets ahead of Assassin.
We're just going to call this jam off. May as well stay together.
They're now fighting up against one another here. Hard Times definitely has the speed, but Assassin's in control.
True.
Not electing to call it off, however.
No, and that pack keeps picking up speed in hopes to tire out the opposition. But everybody's moving pretty rapidly out there.
I was going to say, I'm not sure which side is trying to tire out which side. Hard
Each other.
Times up to the front. And now it's trading body blows here, 4-4, as the jam is called off.
And so, take it back, 4-4. So no lead change at all. Nice job there by Maine to be able to get in and squeeze out those points. So a 15-16.
All right.
1-point game.
I'm
So
gonna struggle through this to not stop trying to handle camera work and actually watch. Like my focus is a little.
Do your job, sir. Do your job.
Chad, it's okay. We understand. Chad and I had a conversation how we need to not fan out over this game because there's a lot of skaters that we admire who are participating. Speaking of, Ramy Lammy just bounced to the inside, bringing it around on the out, still trying to emerge from the pack. And I do believe we
There's
have
Heartless up against her, yep.
Yeah. Seeing lots of great things. Nurse Heartless breaking free.
In the air, pirouette, sticks the landing.
And a pirouette, apparently.
Excited to have gotten the lead jammer and able to call that one off right on time. No harm, no foul, but she was about to go out of play, and that would have been points on the board going the opposite direction. So
All right, goose eggs on that. Neither side scored anything. The last jam was also 4-4, so we're staying right even with one another as 7:50 Jamazon comes out for Maine.
And again, another familiar matchup, Jamazon up against Flying King.
Yeah, we have some tight rotations here, don't we?
Exactly. And we may see that change later in the game, but that all depends on what that scoreboard shows.
Jamazon up to the front right now, Banshee.
Uses her size and her speed, as you see
Cuts
here.
to the outside, steps right around that pack on the outside track. She's through for 5.
King getting a little caught up there in that main wall.
Main wall just got a little shortened as they lose one to the box.
Indeed they did. I didn't quite catch that call, did you?
I did not.
I know it's tough to tell with so much action happening.
Jamazon's through for another 5 as Maine broadens the lead.
Danger is extending out to the limit of the pack, taking Flying King all the way back.
Now a 2-wall in front of Jamazon. And she is, she's through. She's got 5 there. The ref had something to say. I thought it was a penalty for a moment.
We ended up with a penalty. I believe it was for out of play for both Hook and Pena Colada, leaving Team Mass down a couple of blockers.
And Jamazon likes that, and she cuts back through for 4 more points at the end of that jam. That's going to be a 19-point jam, and definitely the largest jam we've seen thus far.
Mm-hmm. Lots of smiles and high fives on that main bench.
Down big right here, a 4-on-2.
All right, that's Nurse Heartless up once more for Maine.
Yes, and first time up in this game, Varla Guns with the star. Great showing from Guns earlier on today up against West Virginia. And we'll see how her momentum continues.
2 on 4 in the pack right now. But Massachusetts doing a good job of shutting down Maine's assault just with 2 blockers. Meanwhile, in the front of the pack, Varla Guns has made her way around, picks up lead jammer in a tough situation.
Yes, both chain links and hard dash were holding Guns for a little bit, but she managed to wiggle her way past.
All right, Maine has completed their initial pass. There's Heartless working her way around the track. Reinforcements from the box. They're at full strength out there now.
The Guns is going to go ahead and call that jam right there.
Hard dash sent to the Ducks. I think I heard failure to reform.
And you did hear
1 point picked up by Maine there. 4 points by Massachusetts.
And that was a failure to reform call on hard dash for Team Maine.
And we have the mirror image of the last situation, as Maine only has 2 blockers out, Massachusetts at full capacity.
I think we're seeing the mirror of the teams because they really are so closely matched. Makes definitely for an exciting game.
Hard Times and a Roosstock out there right now. Hard Times will break through the pack first. That's Assassin, not a Roosstock.
It's all right. It's tough to tell sometimes. Everybody's so quick to move and get knocked around.
Assassin knocked to the outside, has to restart as she's pulled back by Dorcas Maximus.
Despite a great hit from Zelda.
Hard Time dodges to the outside, almost stays out of trouble, but Maine gets a piece of her, slows her up. Great recycling by Maine there, just staying in front of her over and over again. And bad news for Maine.
Yes, we have a back block on Assassin. She was recycled by Team Massachusetts between a wall of Dorcas Maximus and Kiltrosity. A little bit of a pile up there.
Oh, nice spin out of the pack. She picks up 5 points there. That's Hard Times.
Hard Dash returning to the penalty box to join Assassin.
Hard Dash is hitting Hard Times. It was hard all over him. Striking position here. 7 points separating these two teams. And a power jam. Hard Times decides to call it off. That's 10 points. Sorry, 15 points total for Massachusetts. That's their largest jam of the game.
Indeed. And I don't know if you saw it, Mo, but I noticed as Hard Times was coming around that Chain Links was attempting to backwards block her, and it almost looked like a hug.
There's a lot of roller derby love out there.
There
All right,
is.
we got a 2-point game suddenly as Massachusetts has powered their way back into contention here.
We'll see how Ramy Lammy handles this power start opportunity.
Assassin cooling her heels in the box for a few seconds, and she's got to take the long way around. Let's see if that works out. She could have waited in the box. She elected to take off.
Firefly, Head of Flame, and Bergeron doing a number on Team Mass's jammer.
Oh boy, Assassin just got another back block call. Second in a row for her.
Well, that leaves Ramy Lammy with the lead as she finally busts past that Maine defense.
Well, with that, we have a lead change. Ramy Lammy is through. Yeah, she's through for 4. No pass, no penalty on that final blocker. But that 4 points is enough to put Massachusetts in the lead.
But it may be enough to keep everybody on the edge of their seats.
Well, I know that's where I'm sitting.
Exactly, despite our very comfy memory foam cushions.
We got our first lead change.
Yes.
All right, so a lead change there.
To 36 for Maine.
And just a reminder, as you are watching this from home, if you choose to check in on social media, be it Twitter or Facebook, make sure to tag Battle of the All-Stars, hashtag BOTAS. Also, Buxton Roller Derby dolls, make sure that is BRDD with that hashtag in front.
All right, folks, back to the action here. We have Jamazon and Flying King going up against one another. Looks like Flying King is headed out. You catch that call, Banshee?
That, I did not catch King's call. I did see the one for R2 who followed her.
Oh, man, Jamazon has 2 skaters in front of her. Sorry to cut in on you there,
No,
but
it's okay.
Jamazon picks up lead with only 2 Massachusetts blocker to hold her back.
Yes, R2 was sent to the box for a high block.
Cuts to the outside there, makes short work of I spoke a little too soon.
That was a fierce hip and lean from 5 Penny on Jamazon, but not enough to keep her in the pack.
Gets a piece of her, slows her down, eats up some of that penalty time, so Flying King is able to re-enter.
Yeah, only for a moment, and that moment is also gone.
Flying King is through the pack on her initial pass. Jamazon's still working on it, so Massachusetts did a good job of staunching the flow there.
Yes, Jamazon is recycled by hook.
Looked like she was about to call
And
it,
R2.
but maybe she just had her hands up to show she wasn't trying anything funny.
Perhaps. It's the I didn't do it. move.
Innocent. I'm innocent, cop, because you got nothing on me.
Right? See?
Oh, track cut called on Massachusetts. So this is, another power jam for Jamazon right now.
And again, there is a lead change in favor of Team Maine.
Just about to say, and you know what? We were talking about it. Chad was mentioning it earlier. Back and forth on this score. This is the second lead change of the game.
Looks like we are. I'm not sure if that was the official review he was going up or the diamond cutter. I'm not sure what that was, but, and I think that's where he's going with that.
All right, so an official review being called.
We have pizza here for sale again.
Wait, there's pizza?
You guys have your book with some sponsor reads you can go through?
Sure, I'm happy to let you know who's helping us out here at the Battle of the All-Stars, supporting local and national roller derby. We have turnaround skates, roller skates, protective gear, and apparel. And let's not forget SweatX. Get the funk out. SweatX sport detergent removes and eliminates 99% of bacteria embedded in activewear. And that includes your roller derby gear. Very
It sure
useful.
does.
More people need some SweatX.
They definitely need something. Well, as long as we're hitting these up here, let's hit up our after party. If you're watching online, sadly, you will not be able to join us unless you start driving now. But it's right down the street at Rock and Rubble Saloon.
Who's got that much track awareness?
Very nice. And I know you probably at home are hearing the house announcers talking about pizza and, of course, beer. So even if you are unable to join us in the venue, I hope that you're able to enjoy a frosty beverage of choice and perhaps some pizza, some extremely tasty pizza while you enjoy the broadcast.
All right, so the official review will continue here. Big huddle in the middle of the track right now. When things do get going. You know what, we were starting to talk about that bracket. How does that look, Banshee?
Well, right now, the result of this game, either Massachusetts or Maine will go on to play North Carolina in Game 15. That will be at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And earlier on, we had the upset, of course, between Maine and New Jersey yesterday, taking New Jersey against Ohio. That's another game, I believe, for tomorrow. And let's see, we have Pennsylvania and Virginia facing off, as well as Maryland and New York. So some great lineups happening.
Absolutely. And this game, as we mentioned here, as Chad mentioned, does knock somebody out. Whoever is the loser of this game will not be moving forward. Means they'll enjoy the after party a bit more, but that's the only consolation they'll get.
Exactly. But the winner will proceed in their quest for third place.
All right, it looks like the review stands. I'm not seeing any change on score, and I'm not seeing any change on penalties. So although I do not have the inside track, so to speak, on the inside track.
Yep, Flying King will be serving out a penalty. So we have a power start.
All right, here's the jam, and Maine in a power jam situation, and Toot Sweet, she is right on out there. That's Nurse Heartless. Cutting through that like a pair of bandit shears. That's nurse humor, ladies and gentlemen.
Very nice, very nice.
Good job.
I enjoy the puns.
All right, Nurse Heartless on the inside now. She's through for 5.
Very nice.
And she is pushing those fluids wide open. I'm sorry, I'm a nurse. I could do this all day.
Oh,
Nurse Heartless makes her way around again, cuts to the outside. She has run into a claw up there in the front.
But it is Flying King who busts through, yanking out the stitches, so to speak, and makes it through. Not picking up points yet. Let's see what happens.
I think they called it before she was able to get up there. Maine will pick up their 4 and hang at 8 points, broadening their lead once more. And once again, it's Massachusetts' job to come from behind.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. It's going to be one of those kind of, it's a rubber band game.
Yeah, stretching out, catching up, stretching out. All right, we have Microphone Assassin, who had back-to-back back blocks a couple of jams ago. Let's see if she cleans up her act here. Going up against, I believe, Rammy Lammy.
That's correct. Assassin doing her best to get past a wall of Pena Colada, Smashley Olsen, and Bella LeBrawl.
I felt that over here.
Yeah, that looked painful.
All right, Assassin in the front. She has broken through, followed out very quickly by Rammy Lammy. And although Assassin has the power, right now Rammy Lammy's got the speed. She's caught up to her. Assassin tries to stay in front of her, but Rammy Lammy takes the outside. I think that's going to force a call. No, she's letting it go.
And Rammy Lammy on one leg, transitioning and getting right around those main blockers.
All right, Assassin has cut her way up to the front, so that's 4 and 4.
Actually, that last one for Lammy, she picked up the 5.
Assassin calls it off, but a little late, I have a feeling. Did Maine get any points? Well, all right, just in time, 4 to 4.
Oh, they did.
Like kissing your sister.
I thought maybe Mass picked up a point or two at the end of that before Assassin called it, but she got it in time.
63-49.
I also misread the referee's hand, so my apology.
Well, that'll happen.
Again.
All right, I believe that's Varla Guns.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Providence roller derby. That's not Massachusetts.
Well, there are a few skaters who reside in Massachusetts who skate for Providence Roller
All
Derby.
right, I'll let it go.
That would be Varla Guns and Smashley Olsen.
Spry Bergeron, however, is lead jammer right now, and she's from Maine, unless she's really from New Hampshire. Anyway. Oh, nice job of tripping over, well, whatever, staying up and grabbing those points. 4 points.
Like she took offense at something we said earlier and tried to take us out for some reason.
That's why the gate stays locked.
All right, Jamazon coming on out for Maine.
Team Mass starting one blocker down as Bella LeBrawl standing in the penalty box. She'll be back shortly.
A little back and forth on that jam line there. It looks like they maybe they were tossing the pivot panty back and forth.
All of them being handy just in case I get hurt.
R2 starting off a little jammer on jammer blocking off the line.
Maine closing ranks right around the pivot line, but opening things up for Jamazon to cut right on through on the inside track. Massachusetts out of the pack as well, trying to race her down. Jamazon trying to catch up with a pack that's flying across that track. Looks like Jamazon got a back block call on that. I didn't see the contact. I saw the skater go down.
Unfortunately, I did not catch it either. Perhaps on the...
R2 picked up a penalty. And then R2 has picked up a penalty.
Yeah, we had a little rotating jammer there. That was less than 5 seconds on both sides. And it looks like R2 is going to take the long way around. And wait a minute, Jamazon is being sent back to the box.
Yeah, I wonder if she got an illegal procedure penalty because she tried to come back in over here.
Yeah, the point of no return has been something of an issue this weekend. I've seen a couple of penalties associated with it.
Evidently some confusion. R2 went to the box. It looked as if we were going to swap.
We have, I apologize. We have some chaos out in the pack, courtesy of Five Penny and Bella LeBrawl. And a clockwise block off to number 8 on Maine. That would be a Rustic Bounty.
All right, Jamazon has been released from the box and has re-entered at this point. I'm unclear if there's a lead jammer right now.
That's true.
To find out what the heck just happened. Either way, here's
because I'm not so sure that R2 actually had a penalty or if she went to the box by mistake. thus pulling Jamazon back. Little unclear, but it's not being called, so I'm assuming we're going for a full 2.
Yes.
Nope.
We
Yeah,
missed it.
thanks.
Answered our question.
So R2 did not go to the box on a penalty. I think we could safely say that was a miscommunication from the refs to the skater.
And we've got a 3-point game suddenly.
All right, Maine's still on top, but by a lot less right now.
Let's take a look here. I checked the instant replay on Jamazon's initial penalty.
Free beer for her.
So you'll
Give
see.
that lady a free beer.
Yeah, that back block that got called was, in my mind, a little
All
day
for you. How you like that?
Let's look at the telestrator. If you look up here, this is where she makes
Later, I'll even
contact.
bless it for you. How you like that?
Look at this, huh?
Roller derby.
Yes.
Boom, right there.
Yeah, maybe.
2 hands on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
I totally just John Madden that.
You did. Good job.
Here's a Derby Blair who likes to really push people around.
Well, we have an official timeout. I wonder if they are making sure that their communication lines are clear to the players after that little juggle, that jammer juggle, let's call it.
It's always nice to get everybody on the same page.
Well, I just suspect that R2 got a miscommunication there, and that ended up springing Jamazon early. Well, regardless.
Well, Mo, something that I can bring up right now, we've been talking a little bit about the different teams that make up Team Massachusetts and also Team Maine.
Right.
Something that was a big deal for Boston this year, they changed their name from Boston Derby Dames to Boston Roller Derby.
Yeah, I'm still not quite used to that.
Yeah, and most of us, we're still adjusting, but I think it's a very big move. It definitely makes it a more inclusive name for the league. And recently, many of the Boston Roller Derby skaters were on the cover of the Somerville Scout local magazine, including Team Massachusetts Flying King.
Ah, very good.
So it was a very nice feature talking about their league and their transition to a new title. So it's kind of a big deal, and just want to give Boston that shout out because Boston Roller Derby, we know you're here to stay.
By the way, are amazing.
And a good chunk of the Massachusetts team, of course, is Boston today, but we have them from all over. I know there's some Western Mass players,
Yes, and
and a
there's
couple Providence players.
a couple of Providence, and then also Mass Attack. That's actually my home league. They are located in southeastern Massachusetts, so representing the South Coast.
Ah, all right. Meanwhile, Hard Times is having a hard time getting through that pack. She recycles to the back, but gets through very quickly. Nurse Heartless still caught up behind that barricade. Makes it on through.
Now, both jammers out. We got the race to
And
the
man,
finish
look at
line.
that. Nurse Heartless just racing around that track.
A lot of whistles. Didn't hear a whole lot of full blast whistles.
And she
but we did
picks
hear
up
at least
2
one
points.
whistle
I
from
wasn't
Team
so
Massachusetts.
sure, but she cut right into that pack fast enough
Yeah,
that
she-
she was able to pick up 2.
Made it right by whistle 4.
Points on
Yeah.
the board for Maine. This is
At
Massachusetts
the same time,
Western
holding
Maine.
Massachusetts to only 3 points on that pass, and it's a 2-point game.
And we have an official review called by Beard, the coach of Team Maine.
Did you see anything controversial? Anything that you could imagine the official review?
Now, I wonder what the review is for.
No, curious.
Look clean.
Yeah, there seemed to be a little bit of question in that, but that's what official reviews are for.
Well, and that's why we said earlier that we kind of heard maybe one whistle blast once. We heard a couple more blows, but not
Well, one way or the other
necessarily
here.
a lot of four-whistle
This has
blasts
been
to
a heck of a
signify the end
weekend
of the
thus
jam.
far.
Little confusion.
We've had, I think, only one upset, correct?
Definitely understand that. We do want to
That
mention
was the
one of our
Virginia.
sponsors, Moda Skates.
Is that Virginia, New
For
Jersey? Am I
skaters,
thinking?
by skaters.
Yeah,
They
first
have a
round.
giveaway.
Yeah.
If you go
Yes.
to their table, you just have to fill out one of these little white slips. And during the
And
8
Massachusetts
p.m.
seeded over Maine in this
halftime,
situation. We'll see if they're able to stick to that. We have 7 minutes and 20 seconds left of this first half for them to do it. And, of course, a whole second half as well.
Name, email, derby name, of course. And fill it out, give it to them. They'll raffle it off at halftime of our final bout tonight.
See, I like that. You can put your derby name on there. So
So looking at these teams here, Banshee, I know you're very familiar with the Massachusetts team. What do you feel that Massachusetts specifically is bringing to
else do we
this?
have sponsoring tonight's?
Well, they have some a great jammer bench, a lot of double threats on their team. Anyone from, let's see, Dorcas Maximus to Rami Lammy. I mean, just incredibly strong veteran skaters. Many of these skaters have been involved in Massachusetts roller derby for at least 4 seasons.
Okay.
And, you know, they really have a strong, knowledgeable bench. Many, even though they're maybe from different leagues, there's a lot of intermingling. We tend to scrimmage together, whether at open mixed scrimmages, so there's some familiarity in gameplay. And of course, you know, with State Wars leading up to this, they've had an opportunity to really gel. So
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
One thing I was wondering about this is that a lot of these teams are geographically very far apart. Massachusetts, obviously, that's less of an issue. It's a smaller state. But if you're looking at a place like New York, I mean, we don't see the Rochester teams down in New York City very often, for example. And I think we have a little inside information there on that. Chad, what do we got?
So they're reviewing right now the lack of a cut call on the blue jammer where Lynx pushed her out in that corner.
All right. Well, that's a tough call to make. Obviously, those calls are made so very quickly. Maine decides this is the time to do it. Try to preserve that lead. Of course, right now they're not threatened by this last jam, but with only 2 points between these two teams, anything could happen at any time. All right. Hard Dash came over with that information. We thank her for that. Any changes happening here on the track? Does not look like the points are changing.
I would be remiss in my duties and possibly.
Oh, but yeah, there is. It looks like Maine won that official review as Hard Times is headed to the box to sit out 30 seconds. So Maine just lawyered their way into a power jam here. And of course, that also means that Maine will hold on to their official review.
Indeed, and that leaves Nurse Heartless. Oh, I apologize. That is Spry Bergeron with the power start, meeting Pawolski at the back of the very stiff wall provided by Team Massachusetts.
Yeah, and they're going chest to chest up there in the front. Yep, she's good. She was out in front enough. They had to let her go. That's lead jammer for Spry Bergeron.
We have R2 going to the box for Team Mass. I believe that was a clockwise block call.
And the rest of Mass's skaters, including Jammer, have been sprung.
You know, Five Penny just used whatever Five Penny had to use.
And bad news for Maine here as Spry is headed to the box. That is for a... looks like a low block. All right, so Hard Times now has completed her initial pass. Anything but Hard Times for her right now. She's in a power jam. Cut to the... oh, man, they are just pushing her on the outside, huh?
Yes, she is covered in white jerseys at the moment. And breaks free, putting another 5 in the sky.
That's a lead change.
The fortunes in Massachusetts favor. We have another lead change. It's currently 76 to 73.
And Bergeron is sprung as well. She's going all the way back, getting behind team captain for Maine there, making sure she comes in legal. With the point of no return issues that we've had here, nobody wants to test that again. Knocked to the outside. Bergeron is being pulled all the way back. All white in the front. Hard Times knocked to the inside. Nice hit from number 7. That's still dangerous. Now Bergeron's chest to chest up in the front. Triangle defense holding her back. Hard Times caught up in the back by the Maine skaters. And that was a full 2 minutes, Banshee.
We have just over 5 minutes left in the half.
4-13.
Another big jam for Team Mass.
Take a 7-point lead over Maine with 5 minutes left.
All right, so that's a 7-point lead for Mass, and for those of you counting at home, that's our third lead change.
I'm wondering how well these two teams travel. You know what I mean?
All right, Rammy Lammy going up against Jamazon.
Bringing their fan base with them. So we'll check in on
Rammy Lammy to the inside, rams into the back. Jamazon comes around the outside, picks up lead. Rammy Lammy's got 1-2 in front of her right now, takes a hip check, absorbs it up in the front, another hip check. Too far out in front, she has to go. Jamazon now is re-engaged with the back of the pack.
That was a low block call on Rammy Lammy, making this a power jam for Jamazon and Maine.
Maine doing a great job of pulling Jamazon back, eating up that penalty time. Jamazon re-enters in a very deliberate way. Oh boy, and she is going out for a track cut. I did not see that cut.
So we're going to flip our jammers one more time. They didn't really have any jammers serve the full 30 seconds by themselves.
Rammy Lammy re-enters with a flourish.
She's already standing, and that may not be an abbreviated power jam.
I think that was a full 30 seconds that she served.
I do believe so.
Rammy Lammy through the front. That's her initial pass.
With a smile, always. I'm surprised she didn't wait for the crowd on that one. Earlier on, she was actually doing this to the crowd.
Rammy Lammy goes in butt first into that white line. Cuts to the outside. Oh, that was definitely, yeah, blocking. I don't know if it was blocking out of bounds or a low block, one way or the other.
So Bounty heads off to penalty land.
And that was Bounty from Maine Roller Derby picking up the penalty.
Ladders her way back to the back of the pack.
She's around there with a quickness. Jamazon is through. That's points in the sky for her, and they're giving her 5.
Because of the two jammers both going to the penalty box, we don't have a lead jammer. We're going to serve the last few seconds.
Rammy Lammy up in the back right now. Jamazon up front. She cuts through. That's another 5. And folks, I do believe that's a no, not quite. Not quite a lead change there.
That was an operation.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
See what I did? I had to get another board game in there.
I like it.
I didn't get their instant replay for the.
Pizza again. Yes, we got
I
it.
apologize.
The track cut, that's all right.
That's okay.
Sorry.
We appreciate your effort.
But later we'll tell everybody to do
No, we actually very much appreciate this broadcast opportunity made possible by the New England Roller Derby Report. So thanks a lot, Chad.
Nerd Derby.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, and you could follow at Nerd Derby on Twitter, and also if you have any suggestions or inquiries, nerdderby@gmail.com.
Back to the track. Nurse Heartless has grabbed lead jammer. Flying King is right behind her, but she's got half a track to make up. Nurse Heartless, eye in the back of that pack, cuts to the outside. Inside, huge hit. Knocks her to the inside, forces her to call it off. We're going to get one more jam in this half. Maine grabs 2 points. Narrowing that lead to 3 points by Massachusetts.
Cut my slice into pieces.
We have Varla Guns lining up with the Jammer Star, I believe facing off against Microphone Assassin.
That is correct.
Cut my slice into pieces. I get it. I see what you did there. Yeah, see? Talking about the pizza again and made a musical reference all at the same time.
All right, there is the whistle. We are go.
He's almost like a Microphone Assassin who's wearing the star for Team Maine.
Microphone Assassin really pushing her way through. A lot of power in that skater. Up to the front, one left to go. Around the outside. She's through for lead.
Despite great effort from Team Mass to try and hold Assassin, it just was not happening. Much to her joy.
Yeah, I've seen her run into some issues with speed, but man, you cannot doubt that power. She can push right through that line.
We have Varla Guns trying to fight it out at the front of the pack. She does emerge, getting past Hard Dash.
Assassin makes it through to the front for 4 points, and that's a lead change. Puts Maine on top. Once more, Assassin not calling it off. This is an interesting strategy by her. Man, that was a run and gun right there.
Yeah,
hard times just nailing her and continuing out. Microphone assassin knocked to the outside. She's going to call it. I guess that was a 1 point. Yeah, and Maine falls behind because of those 4 points picked up by Massachusetts. I've seen Assassin do that 2 or 3 times now in other games as well, not calling it off when conventional wisdom would tell you to call it off. I don't know if that's strategy or what going on there, but
perhaps. It's a mystery to us, unfortunately.
all right. Well, it's a 2-point game at the half, and that is exciting as hell. So I cannot wait to get back to the action in just about 10 minutes here.
How many
All right,
people
so we'll
in the
come back in
audience
10.
right now
See you
have
then.
come to cheer on the Massachusetts?
fantastic.
And we're back.
All right, we are back here. New York and Maryland are finishing up their warm-ups on the inside track. They are up next right here in Hatfield, Pennsylvania.
Hey, how about this?
But back to the action here. Massachusetts and Maine, which has turned out to be, I would hazard the statement, the most exciting bout of the weekend thus far.
I'd have to agree, Mo. Absolutely, all the lead changes, and just knowing the history with these two teams, the fact that Massachusetts is determined to beat Team Maine after having lost to them twice with less than a 5-point loss.
Jam is on, gets through, but is swallowed up again by the pack just a little bit. Sticks it on the inside line. She's lead jammer, but not the jammer in the lead right now.
That would be hard times. Let's see if she forces the call, and
She does.
that does happen.
Good way to start things off for Massachusetts here.
So we're still 96 to 94 as a reminder. Mass.
So Goose Eggs started off 94 to 96. Massachusetts does maintain a sliver of a lead.
I'm a philosophy guy. Okay. Very philosophical here.
And Team Maine is starting a blocker short as Chain Links is warming up a seat in the penalty box. Thankfully, she won't be there for long.
Rami Lammy will go up against Nurse Heartless. We have seen this lineup several times so far today.
Here we go.
Two very fast skaters.
A multiplayer block going to be
Rami Lammy pushed her way up at the front. Nurse Heartless from downtown around the outside.
And a hipped from hard dash on Rami Lammy, sending her to the back of the pack.
Heartless pedal the metal there in the front. She follows Rami Lammy out of the pack. Rami Lammy finishing her first trip through the pack. And Heartless calls it not soon enough. 2 points picked up by Rami Lammy on that last pass. 3 points. Yeah, one of those ghost points in the box. So Maine only coming up with. The house announcers are having a little bit of confusion as well here. I see 3 fingers up on the blue ref.
I think that's a scoreboard issue, and that's going to get fixed. But
Yeah. All right. So we're going to adjust those points. I suspect those points.
99-101.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my official guess.
Okay.
Well, it might be 99 to 98 actually. I think 3 of those points went to Maine, should have gone to Mass. We'll see it in a second.
All right. Well, while they figure it out, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our officiating staff. We have our head referee, Sam Nomick, known as Sam Replow, and our head NSO, Wendy Blessing, also known as Statatui. Running sizable crews of officials, we have referees on skates and those off skates. We'll give you some names in just a moment.
All right, so after consideration, it looks like Maine picked up a single point. I'm not sure where that's coming from because I swear I saw 3. But score on the board is 97 to 101, and now Maine is in the lead for our, I believe, 4th or possibly 6th lead change, depending how you want to count it. Flying King, Spry Bergeron for their respective team. Flying King on the inside sticks the line. Lead jammer.
Spry Bergeron with a big hit from R2, hitting the floor. And Team Mass's wall recycled.
Flying King hits the back of that pack and gets a little boost there. I don't know. That might have been unintentional on Maine's part, but she's through for 5 points, and that's a lead change. Imagine we'll be saying that a few more times. All right, those.
And they have called it off. Flying King as lead jammer. Smart move on behalf of Massachusetts, squeaking out a lead change. So that would be number 7, I believe, because we were discussing 6th last time.
That's right.
Just making sure
well,
I'm
there was
keeping
some,
up.
Yeah, some mid jam lead changes there, depending on how you count those.
Yes.
Looks like Nurse Heartless is going to be going up against number 12, Varla Guns.
Like the matchup.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've seen it once or twice already. Let's see how it comes out.
101 to 103.
As far as the stats,
There's Heartless up at the front behind a 2-wall, cuts to the outside, gets around number 31, through for lead jammer. Varla Guns in the meantime.
Guns getting a little help from Cruliet Lewis with some offense.
with one in the
Nice
box.
hit from 31 there, knocking her to the outside. That Smashley Olsen.
Track cut penalty called on
That's going to
Guns.
pull
She
Nurse
gets the
Heartless
ball
all the way to the back,
around
but
the track.
she's in a power jam
Power jam
as a track cut pulls Varla to the penalty box.
Power jam starts now.
Looks like Nurse Heartless is going.
And it appears we've got 5 in the sky for Nurse Heartless. Let's see what the Team Mass defense does in response. It appears we have some chaos caused by Team Maine, and Nurse Heartless
Oh, nice attempt.
not
Nothing to do it, though.
being held back by 5 penny as
Good shot
hoped.
there.
Add 5 more.
And that's a lead change. There's Heartless up in the front as once more. She's got 2 in front of her, 3 in front of her. Tough to see. Knocked to the inside, but she's able to get back in before anybody pulls her back. Varla Guns has come out of the box and re-engaged the pack at this point.
And that's a forever moving 2-wall of Smashley Olsen and R2.
Yeah.
Really being effective in detaining Nurse Heartless, but she stays safe side, is hit out with a hit from R2, who quickly strings back, forcing the
Why they forced the call.
All right, Maine not able to score on that final pass. I know that Varla was fighting it for quite some time, but neither jammer really able to make headway against 2 very strong walls.
Fantastic job. Kinda came out of nowhere.
15-point jam for Maine, and they are in the front again. And once more, it's that rubber band we talked about.
yes.
First time it's been over 5 points.
8 lead changes, I think we're up to.
Easily. Oh, easy.
I'd say that's
25
accurate.
minutes left, roughly in this bout.
Gets a little hard to count after a while. We got Rammy Lammy and a Roostock Bounty, or a Roostic Bounty. Rammy Lammy is going to get out front. A Roostock fighting her way past Hook up there in the front.
Opportunity here and a big old lead. Comes
And then 103, Emily Paluski. She's through.
First. All good, all legal, and she's going to have to tap out right there. She's going to get 4.
Paluski trying to break up that back wall.
Maine
But Rammy Lammy does sneak by one of them at least and gets all 4.
lead 24 seconds to go. 24 minutes, maybe.
Yes.
Minutes.
4 points for Mass there, unreturned by Maine.
Currently with a nice clean penalty box and empty. It appears that our lines have migrated near the pivot line.
I would absolutely not have said it.
I cannot believe that, sir. I've called with you enough now to know that that's not true. But hard times where the star against Jamison.
All right.
It's a sea of bodies. I don't know who's who, but it looks like
Up there in the front is Hard Times, lead jammer.
Out, she's rounding up the troops. Here we go. Hard times. Jamazon gives chase.
Jamazon doing her best to keep up, but there is a call from Hard Times.
Single point for Hard Times, unreturned by Maine. 8-point game now, as once more Massachusetts is narrowing this lead. All right, White has 37 out there. That's Spry Bergeron.
Sly Bergeron.
You're right. Well called.
All right, and that is Flying King back on the jammer line.
It's better over here, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Much better over here.
Team Mass starting off 1 blocker short with Bella LeBral warming up a seat in the penalty box.
Oh, flying right out to the front. Flying King takes lead jammer. Spry Bergeron not too far behind her, about half a track.
Fast.
Flying King really flew out there. Oh, and a hop. Oh, a hop. Knocked to the inside. Got a little piece of her. That's going to force the call.
How about that airborne
But
pirouette?
4 points, 3 points scored.
Yes, Mass puts up 3. It's a goose egg for Maine on this jam, but as we know, that does change.
That's all I gotta say.
About every 30 seconds or so.
It has, yeah. It definitely has.
Yes.
All right, Nurse Heartless and Rammy Lammy up for their respective teams.
Maybe 5 is the answer to everything.
Okay, we've got 5 Penny and Bella LeBral warming up the penalty box. So that leaves Cruliet Lewis and R2 out on the track.
R2 with a big hit there, throwing Nurse Heartless for a loop on the inside. Rammy Lammy on the inside now. Pivots and gets right back in. Nurse Heartless has picked up lead jammer.
jammer.
Massachusetts is going to swap out blockers in the penalty box, so one goes out, one goes in.
We now have Bella Labral out there with R2. Crew was headed off to the penalty box for just a little bit.
Nurse Heartless there sticks the inside, does a great job. Rami Lammy now has re-entered the pack, takes a knee, gets pulled back a ways.
I didn't see what this one was, but Bella Labral also going to the penalty
A lot of
box.
penalties going here.
Yeah, it's been a little busy in the penalty box for Team Massachusetts, but I'm sure they'll regroup and get refocused.
All right, 2-9, advantage Maine on that last one, 113 to 125. Maine is, well, this is about as big a lead as they've had.
Yes.
Certainly the second half is the biggest lead they've had.
Indeed.
Sitting over 3.
Looks like we have another familiar matchup, Varla Guns against Jamazon.
2 on Team Blue.
Jamazon to the inside, wide open for her.
Her long legs, she just steps right over that inside line.
Yeah, wide open is a whole different ball game when you're taking steps like that. And on the inside again, untouched. Jamazon about to call it, sees the situation and decides to keep going. That's 4 points for Maine.
I know it was way after. It was Jamazon taking lead jammer. That was way after.
All right, a little less easy through the pack this time. As they get a piece of her, slow her down, but she gets to the front and calls it.
Jamazon will hit it and quit it.
4-8 on that. Maine topping
In favor of Maine,
topping
stretching that
Massachusetts.
lead even further now. 20 minutes to go.
Getting close. It's coming down to the wire, but this is really one jam away from a change of fortune.
What we haven't seen a lot of this game are big power jams, certainly not in the second half.
It's going to be hard times coming up slide.
We have Hard Times and Spry Bergeron. Hard Times breaks out Toot Sweet. She's lead jammer. Spry Bergeron getting a lot of grief from Kiltrosity.
For a second there, I was going to say, what, there's spanakopita? That's delicious.
I live in Astoria, a lot of Greek food there.
Yeah.
Calls it off as Bergeron breaks on past her.
All right, 5 more points for Massachusetts, narrowing that gap, 11-point game.
And that was Kiltrosity off to the box to keep our two company.
An 11-point spread.
2-3, abbreviated packs here. It's going to be Nurse Heartless for Maine.
One of the most exciting games on the docket.
Yes, and for Team Mass, Flying King once again. And out for blockers in that short line, we do have Juliette Lewis and Pena Colida.
Oh, cutting out, then cutting back in. Nurse Heartless does not find her way out. Flying King is going to be lead. Now Nurse Heartless is through.
And out of that terrible twosome of Crew and Pena, it is Crew left to her own devices, if only for a few seconds.
Oh!
A bit of a collision.
Yeah, little.
R2 and an official.
I give the official a lot of credit
I
there.
really do.
She went down, holding up the points, scored by Maine, and Maine at the last millisecond there scored 3 points. Great job of flying into that pack and snatching those points up before that fourth whistle. Wow.
And kudos to Shebra for such a quick recovery.
And whoever that is that was on their phone texting and then looked up just at the last second, just wiped her nose and then,
Whoa!
There's Heartless.
Back to the game. It's Rami Lammy versus Jamazon. Jamazon out in front now. Lead jammer for Maine. Rami Lammy on the inside. She's out. Half a track behind as Jamazon makes her way around. 3-on-4 in the pack right now. Maine with a slight advantage. Jamazon spins out, puts her hands on her hips. Don't think she got all. Yes, she did. Got all 4.
Massachusetts is aiming for the referee.
Okay.
Massachusetts got 1.
And it appears that Team Massachusetts has called a timeout.
And apparently, one Viking did
And
pop by their fans.
while we wait, I know before we were talking about our officials, and especially since Shebra's wonderful recovery from that tumble. I would like to shout out our referees. Team Zebra, that beautiful Dazzle who always wins. We have Jason Singer, Ref Wisen, Matthew Blessing, Ducky Do-Right, John Dilks, Dogfish Hunter, T-Bex, Rhea Culpa, Judge Double Wapner, This'll Be Painful, The Charminator, Bob Lloyd, Organic Panic, General Helativity, Axis of Stevel, Shebra, Davey Darko, Verbal Assault, Queen Kictoria, Professor Murder, Ratkowski, Scissors, Sir Lancelot, and Peaches. Again, of course, head referee Sam Refwell.
All right, they're doing a great job out there today. Long days all around, starting at 8 a.m., go until 10 p.m.
Yes, but it's all for the love of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. None of these games count for rankings per se. This is pure Derby love right here, folks.
Don't forget, BOTAS states, go over there, see their tables, sign to win free toast.
All right, 125 to 140. Maine maintains the lead right now. We got Nurse Heartless and Flying King.
Against Nurse Heartless.
Flying King on the outside, cuts to the front, and lead jammer Flying King. There's Heartless taking a big hit in the pack there. Number 77, Hook, slows her up enough. Flying King running smack into a 4-wall in the back right now.
Some offense provided by Hook and Dorcas Maximus.
Oh, once more, Maine snaking a point away.
2-1 blue run.
Maine once more flying forward on that, before that fourth whistle, I should say.
We're looking at what, just over 15 points, just under 15 points? Just
And if anyone's just joining us, we are in Game 11 of Battle of the All-Stars here. Team Massachusetts versus Team Maine. Probably one of the most exciting games thus far in the tournament. It's the 4 and the 6 seed, and we have Team Massachusetts in navy, Team Maine in white.
All right, and back to the action here. It's Jamazon versus Dorcas Maximus, jamming for the first time today, if I'm not mistaken. That's not Dorcas Maximus, that's Hard Times. That's what I get for trusting the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Dorcas Maximus was able to get some jam time in this morning, which was pretty great. So we'll see what the rest of this game holds.
All right, Hard Times is lead right now.
Looking for points now, and she's going to have an opportunity.
And she has a chance here because Jamazon just cleared the pack. Hard Times is through for 4. Not fooling around on this one. Calls it off very quickly. 4 points scored.
Calls it off. 10 points.
At just over 15 minutes left right now, Massachusetts has to be a little conservative with the clock. It's not a huge lead, 10 points, but Maine has consistently pulled ahead, leaving Massachusetts to claw their way back up, which they have time and time again. Ramy Lammy and Spry Bergeron once more.
And Bergeron taking a page out of the Ramy Lammy playbook. Setting up back there at the 30-yard line.
Bergeron trying to pass Kiltrossi. She is successful. Snags lead, breaking through the pack first. Ramy Lammy not far behind.
Jammers out.
Bergeron hits that pack and gets caught up. Whistles 2 points. Unreturned by Maine. By Massachusetts, I should say.
I almost lunged forward and corrected him on that when he said on Maine. I almost lunged forward and corrected you like, no, that was Maine, not Massachusetts.
Nothing I say makes any difference to anybody anywhere, so don't worry about that, man.
Man, I'm just...
Didn't you know because we have a microphone, they have to listen to everything we say?
Yeah.
Listen, my title is the least responsible guy in the room. Everybody else, whatever they're doing matters. So, okay, back to the action here. Nurse Heartless, number 10 for Maine. Looks like Flying King, 42 for Massachusetts.
These matchups between Heartless and Flying King have been fantastic to watch.
Just absolute fierceness from both jammers, each with their own finesse.
They are both out of the pack at this point. Heartless trailing. Flying King gets in and has to call it. Goose eggs. Great job of shutting down that attack by the Maine girls.
Amazon back to the stripe.
And I just thought of this when you said the least responsible person in the room. Well, that would make an interesting Dos Equis ad. Instead of the most interesting man in the room, the least responsible man in the room.
I wrote a couple of columns that I don't think ever ended up getting published under the moniker "the least responsible guy in the room."
Yeah.
Roller derby columns way back in the day when a friend of mine was trying to get something going.
Interesting.
It's all fun and games till that
All
whistle.
right,
All
that
right.
is Varla Guns out there jamming for Team Massachusetts up against Jamazon.
All right, Varla Guns is pulled back, but not for long because there's a penalty called on her puller. Number 22, team captain, headed to the box for Maine. Back on the track, Jamazon has achieved lead jammer status. Varla Guns still looking for her exit from the pack, and she finds it. Jamazon finds it right behind her. Jamazon decides to call it upon further consideration.
And while that happened, we also had a few penalty changes happening. 5 Penny was sent to the penalty box, and I believe it was R2 was released.
It's hard to look at a 16-point lead and think,
3-3 in the pack right now as things get going.
The larger leads that we've seen in the game might be the largest lead that we've seen in the game, pretty close to it either way.
Rammy Lammy, she's going to be going up against 37, Spry Bergeron. Both teams with a very tight jammer rotation, 3 jammers on each side if I'm not mistaken. Not a lot of deviation from that. When things are this close, no time to screw around. Rammy Lammy breaks through to the front.
With that sweep on Bergeron, or the attempt to sweep, Dorcas Maximus somersaulted out.
Ouch! 5'10", Firefly gets a big piece there.
That replay, you're going to see her coming right.
We need to see that on the replay if you can.
I didn't get it.
Oh, well, that's all right.
That's okay.
I saw it and I felt it.
Right in front of us. I was wondering. Well, Chad made the rule yesterday. He told the skaters that if you're going to do anything fun, like apex jumps or fancy, it has to happen in front of the announcers
Right.
table.
Do it on Apex 1, not Apex 2.
Please.
Is that going to kill you, people? Come on.
The funny thing is,
All right, Nurse Heartless. She's going up against Hard Times. And the action's already started while we're blathering over here.
And Kiltrossi sweeps out Nurse Heartless to the inside. However, she does bounce right back in, but she is met with a wall of hook and kill.
Well, we got a power jam here. Hard Times headed to the box, already in the box. Nurse Heartless cuts through the middle there as R2 knocks her. I think it was R2 who knocked her
Yes.
out. Might have been 5 points. All right, we are through. Lead jammer is Nurse Heartless.
a whole lot more than that.
But Massachusetts did a very good job of chewing up that penalty time.
Oh, yes. This is what Team Maine
Not a lot of
did.
power jams this second half. Jammers have been pretty clean. Hard Times is out of the box and entering play.
Hard Times coming up. Oh, that's a big one. That is a big high block right there.
And she's through. That's going to be her initial pass.
I guarantee it.
No, I take that back. I thought that was her initial pass, but 4 points scored.
Now, there was a whistle and I heard the word.
So I believe that's 4-4 on that jam for no net gain on either side.
It was absolutely called,
Which is why
and now it's going to go.
said it otherwise.
Now wait a second, it's going to go against Assassin. It looks like Assassin's heading off. She's holding on.
All right, so
it's still in place.
We're
I'm
waiting for.
seeing a goose egg up there and on the Massachusetts side.
Assassin, so she's going to sit.
So it's possible that she had not completed her initial pass, as I initially said.
They're going to go without Assassin right now.
And you may have overheard a comment from the house mic on a high block that a penalty was assessed to Microphone Assassin of Maine.
All right, back to the action here. Spry Bergeron is lead jammer, but not the jammer in the lead.
That would be Flying King.
Man, yeah, way out in front there, forcing Spry to call that and make sure there's no blood on the track there, so to speak. 0 points scored on either side. $135 to $152. Maine maintaining a lead. This is the longest time a lead has been maintained so far this game. I believe, let's see, we're at just over 9 minutes right now.
seconds to pull the microphone away and not say what we're thinking. That was a good time to have not said what you were thinking. Well done, sir.
Okay, it appears we do have a team timeout
Maine wants to think things over. We'll
for
get
Maine.
back. Oh, look.
All right.
Acrobatics demonstration.
All right, while we wait, any comments for us, Chad? Any feedback on the game?
So we've seen a different jammer rotation than we have seen in the first two Maine games. I think coming out of both of those games, they found what works this weekend and what doesn't work as well. And what's been kind of interesting is we saw Hard Dash jam quite a bit in the first two games. She's transitioned over to blocking. And you can see just how great of a transitional player she is, plays on both sides. She's been phenomenal blocking today, playing aggressive. She's been in the penalty box a couple of times, but I think that's just a result of how hard she's playing today.
Indeed.
All right, so transitioning a frequent jammer into blocking seems to be working pretty well because I've seen hard times out there with really some bone-crushing hits.
And the beautiful thing about this level of play is many of these players are incredibly strong on both the blocking and jamming end of things. So it's nice when you have a deep bench and it's diverse.
Yeah. All right. The next whistle will start the action.
Yes, we have Jamazon for Maine taking on Ramy Lamy of Team Mass.
Ramy Lamy on the inside runs into that main wall up front. Jamazon having a little more trouble farther back. Ramy Lamy to the outside. Jamazon pulled all the way to the back by 777. That's Hook. And now Ramy Lamy pulled back. Jamazon up in front being shut down by Bella LeBrawl.
17-point lead. Jamazon up against a big.
There she goes. Jamazon finds her way through. Lead jammer for Maine. We got a star pass. Haven't seen too many of those this game.
And that star has been handed to R2, and it appears she may be pulling a stash. Ramy Lamy is off to the penalty box.
Probably a good thing that she did it when she did.
There's some interesting things happening there. I'm not sure what R2 was doing.
The jam's going to come to its conclusion there. A little bit of confusion. I'm sure everybody's
There's a lot of confusion. I see many puzzled faces.
Yeah, not least behind the mic here, my friend. Well, one way or the other, Mass does not put a point up. 5 points for Maine.
And okay. We have overheard that Ramy was not sitting as the jammer. However, we're going to wait for confirmation from the officials.
All right, so now R2's confusion makes a little bit more sense. The star had been handed off. The question, I suppose, is whether Ramy Lamy got the penalty before or after she handed off the star.
Exactly.
We'll clarify that for you here.
While we wait, I know we've been doing a lot of thank yous. I think that we should show a little love to our photographers. There's quite the group around the arena. We have Andrew Keys, Juan Padden, Kit Ruff, Keith Stanley, Tyler Shaw, David Carter, Jessica McAndrew, also known as Shutterfly, Chase Diem, Rachel Kasparek, Troy N. Teague, and Sean Hale. So thank you for capturing all these excellent moments on and off the track this weekend.
All right, we're back to the action. Under 8 minutes left to go. We got Nurse Heartless. She's going up against Barla Gun, sorry. Nurse Heartless in the front. Picked up lead a while ago, but got swallowed up by the pack once more.
We're going to lose the pivot over there on Team Mass.
Massachusetts losing their pivot. She's headed to the box for penalties unknown.
Yes, and that is Dorcas Maximus, 2787.
Guns is through the pack, but she's following Heartless right now. Looks like Heartless is going to go for it. I see her signaling her team. She's going to try for the apex jump. She does so and calls it off, but that might have been a little late. She landed a little on her side. Did Massachusetts score? I see no points scored.
Kind of gave that little butterfly tap and then finally made it a little bit bigger to make sure that the referees could see it.
B. Lloyd is the jam ref for Massachusetts right now.
And it's time.
And he's going to verify, no penalty, but I think there might have been a low block at the end of that. Yeah, Nurse Heartless picks up a low block, and that means a power jam for Massachusetts right now.
Yes, hard times starting that off.
3 in front of her right now. I saw something fly off to the side.
It's a piece of a wrist guard.
Okay.
Yeah, the hard insert on the front. That's happened a few times this weekend so far. Okay, we have Dorcas Maximus returning to the pack for Team Mass.
Nurse Heartless is standing. She's ready to re-enter. Hard Times is entered for her scoring pass. Breaks through to the front. That's going to be 5 points from Massachusetts.
And I'll tell you what, you couldn't see it. It was shielded all the
And
way
after
back.
the chaos from Team Mass breaking up the main pack, they didn't quite regroup fast enough, so it made it very easy for Nurse Heartless to just cut right down the middle.
Yeah. All right, so that calls that off. I don't think Maine was able to put any up on that. We have that piece of wrist guard being returned to sender.
Always
And
helpful for safety.
looks like Assassin's going to be sitting out the next 30 seconds here. Microphone Assassin. So that's 3-on-3 in the pack. GM is on in those highly identifiable shorts, and also the fact that she's a foot taller than everybody else on the GM line.
And Head of Flame was just sent to the penalty box for Team Maine. That leaves Chain Links and Hard Dash to fend for themselves.
Well, Flying King makes short work of that abbreviated pack. Jamazon right behind her, however.
I'm telling you, Jamazon can give chase, but
Flying King looking to her bench, looking to their bench, and it appears that there was a quick call as a result of that emerging Maine jammer.
You're good.
Excellent awareness on behalf of Flying King.
3 points
And
on
a
that
nice
one.
job by Coach Beard there with a duct tape assist.
Yes.
Into the penalty box.
That was pretty quick.
What's she taping up there? Oh, taping up her wrist guard. Well, yeah, those are important.
That may be who lost a portion of her wrist guard.
It's dance off.
Maybe that's why she's always.
Well, luckily 187 is one of our sponsors, along with many other sponsors, selling pads. Back to the action here. We have Rami Lammy and Spry Bergeron.
Those are not 187 wrist guards.
No, they definitely weren't.
And a nice hip hit taking Spry Bergeron to the outside by R2.
Oh, no, Rami Lammy.
Spry Bergeron comes around the outside, taking the long way around, and she is going to be enjoying 30 seconds of power jam. 30 seconds plus. Rami Lammy had to take the long way around herself to get to the penalty box. Wow, beautiful job.
Those few extra seconds do make a difference, and it appears Hook was just taken to the back of the pack. However, they pulled a cut, entering slightly before Microphone Assassin.
Tough break for Massachusetts, and they're losing another blocker right now.
20 points down.
Only one blue jersey. I take that back. 2 blue jerseys out there right now.
And that is 5 Penny. So we have 5 Penny and Hook off the track, but that leaves Pena Colida and R2.
Rami Lammy has re-entered. Basically meets the pack at the same time that Spry Bergeron does. Now they're wrestling with each other, trying to get through. Spry Bergeron up in the front, facing off against the pivot number 33, R2. She gets through for 5.
Tried to come out and be that last line of defense, but could not get there clean.
Oh, nice hit by 5'10" Firefly. No pass, no penalty there, as Rami Lammy was out of play. It doesn't matter. She's still that's still her initial pass.
Unbelievable.
And Hook doing a great job of holding back Maine there, forcing them to call it off. I think Maine is going to take this. That's a 17-point jam.
32-point lead.
Only just under 3 minutes left. Sorry.
That's okay. No, you covered the time. That was all I was going to pitch in. But very exciting, and if Team Mass has anything to do with it, they're going to make up that deficit. But that remains to be seen.
Was a phenomenal timing.
Well, 32 points differential here. Certainly not undoable. A good power jam or just a good jam in general. But Nurse Heartless, not going to make it easy for them. Hard Times going to be going up against Nurse Heartless.
And
I was just going to say, the house is really picked up right now. People are up on their feet. You can feel the energy in the air right here. People are pretty psyched about this.
yes, even Team Maryland and Team New York are hanging out on the sidelines watching.
Yeah, they are.
They could be in their locker rooms right now. Instead, they're catching this derby action between Mass and Maine.
Definitely one of the most exciting, or the most exciting game of the weekend. We'll see if Maryland, New York brings the action next. Stick around for that.
Well, they better. Now we've come to expect it. That's what we want every time.
Hey, those are my girls from New York. Trust me, they'll be bringing all the action that you can handle.
Oh, it was a great game last night watching them against North Carolina.
Sure was. All right, the whistle blows. Slow start off the line.
Hard Times, heck of a hit there from
Hard Times pops on out, but runs right into a wall of 3.
Pawolski, along with Kiltrosity, Dorcas Maximus, and Cruliette Lewis.
Oh, there we go.
Detaining Heartless, if only for a bit. She manages to scoot by on that inside line.
Yeah, no, they had her number until she saw that there was about, 3 inches available on the inside. She took it.
You know, with that short distance around the track, the Jammers love it. You can't blame them.
1 point scored by Massachusetts, 1 point only.
Kiltrosity is off to the box as she signals to Obstiny, her bench manager.
There are now 2 minutes left in this bout.
2 minutes left. We might be looking at the second to last jam right here.
From Maine. Dear God, fans.
There are plenty of timeouts left here to pause time if need be. Jamazon on the line for Maine right now. Oh, nice job sneaking through by Flying King.
A nice little tiptoe action.
Power jam for Flying King, and we were just talking about this exact situation. Flying King in the run here to bring this home for Maine. Massachusetts.
Flying King fighting that front wall.
Oh!
And they managed to get past and put 5 on the board for Team Massachusetts.
Beautiful job there by Flying King, spinning right through that wall.
I believe Flying can fly.
I believe he can fly.
She has 2 in the front, and she through for 5 more points. But now Jamazon is back in the mix.
10 points already, and they've got an opportunity. Flying King ready, back at the
Jamazon caught up behind a Massachusetts wall. Flying King from downtown breaks right on through. That's another 4 points. I'm guessing that's actually 5.
Oh my God, we're within 20.
Wise choice on the call for Flying King.
There is
They
enough
make
time on the
quite
clock.
impact.
18-point jam right when you needed it.
17-point game, and this is no longer a slam dunk for Maine. Massachusetts could carry this.
Guaranteeing 1 more jam.
Down to the wire, both teams are going to fight tooth and nail to get their win.
Only 34 seconds left on the clock, so it's safe to say this is going to be the last jam coming up here. Maine really going to have to push it if they're going to do it, but if anybody can, Rammy Lammy is that one.
To the line with the star.
It's going to be Rammy Lammy wearing the star for Mass.
And there's Heartless.
You know that this choice by the bench coach is so momentous. This is exactly the situation that, that you're looking for, a do-or-die situation.
And we know that all of these teams, all the skaters here this weekend, have friends and family and fellow skaters cheering them on at home. Want to send shout-outs to all of the Massachusetts leagues. Seen a lot of love shown from Cape Cod Roller Derby, Mass Attack Roller Derby, Boston, Western Mass. You know, everyone reaching out, Bay State Brawlers. So thank you guys for your support. I know that the teams appreciate it, and of course all the home teams from Maine, whether it be Bangor or Maine Roller Derby.
All right, back to the action here. Nurse Heartless on the line, but Rammy Lammy pushed to the outside by Chain Links and Hard Dash. Nurse Heartless up there in the front, looking just to fight her way through, but Massachusetts is tenacious in this defense right now. Rammy Lammy out in front, but she's going to be pulled all the way to the back. Nurse Heartless now has the lead in the pack. Edge to the outside, goes down hard. Rammy Lammy pulled back yet again. Nurse Heartless in the front. Rammy Lammy pulled back by Chain Links twice now.
Both jammers having absolutely no luck.
This pack is simply indefatigable. They are not interested in letting anybody through on either side. Nurse Heartless up in the front there, has a 3-wall in front of her. No way through it. She is pushing. Rammy Lammy all the way in the back right now, trying to get by that Maine defense. Up in the front, Nurse Heartless thought she had an opening, but bam, knocked to the inside. Nice hit by number 300, Hard Times.
forced call from R2 for Nurse Heartless of Maine, but we have an unofficial final coming up of 179 to 162. We're waiting to hear the final word, and then we can offer congratulations.
Wow, one way or the other, that was an incredibly exciting game. Came right down to it. Like I said, Massachusetts not out of contention even at the very end, but both teams finding it in them to hold those jammers completely scoreless in that last jam. So exciting.
In fact, why don't we hop out there and do the high five?
All right, let's ask them to play again.
Wait a minute, do they?
Can we do it right now? Just one more time, guys.
Sorry, New York and Maryland. We got something else to watch.
All right, well, we're going to get ready for New York and Maryland. We'll be back in probably about half an hour. It's a 4 o'clock game. Thanks for tuning in. Like we said, New York, Maryland at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, here,
Thanks for
folks.
having us.
Been a pleasure. This is Mo Chismo signing off.
With
The Maine All-Stars.